There you go. We're on. We're live. This is your daily F1 news. Well, actually, this is your Singapore Grand Prix roundup show. Sorry we couldn't do a live watch along yesterday. Unfortunately, day job got in the way. But here we are. Better late than never. We're doing our Singapore Grand Prix roundup show. And oh, wow, what a Grand Prix. It was a little bit boring, wasn't it? I'm not going to lie. Surprising performance from Mercedes, obviously. Little bit of drama from Ferrari. Driver of the day performance by Fernando Alonso. Absolutely not my driver of the day prediction. I thought it was going to be Alexander Albon. How wrong was I? And then again, Max Verstappen showing some real strength in the Red Bull, but then Yuki, not great. Again, I think it's bye-bye, Yuki, bye-bye, Yuki, bye-bye. Sorry, but I think that's what it is. I don't think Yuki's going to last. I don't think he's going to make it. I just don't think he's good enough for F1. But what do you think? Get in the chat. We can talk about it. So, let's start at the top. And we'll talk about qualifying, okay? First of all, special mention, George Russell, P1 in qualifying in that subpar Mercedes. Hey, congratulations, George. That is more than putting a marker down, right? To get P1 in that Mercedes was nothing short of remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. And it wasn't just... He had the two quickest lap times, by the way. Not just the one quickest lap time. He had the two quickest lap times. That was remarkable. And what does Toto Wolff say about that newfound pace in that Mercedes? He doesn't know where it's come from. They don't know. They don't know why the car did well in Singapore. Because that car, historically, does well in cool, dry conditions. So maybe it just didn't get as hot as it normally does in Singapore. It just fell into that sweet spot. But that Mercedes, unexpectedly, from everybody, astonishing. P1, George Russell. And what I love about George Russell's P1 in qualifying was that, you know, he's in a contract negotiation with Toto Wolff right now. And he's sort of like saying, hey, I am one of the best drivers on the grid. Give me a reward. I asked you for 2 years. You said no. I asked you for the same money as Lando Norris. You said no. And I asked you for less press commitments and sponsor commitments. And you said no. Now, all I hope is after that performance that Toto Wolff is going to concede on some of these points. Because the one thing we can all agree, George Russell drove brilliantly at the weekend. And he deserved his race win. So congratulations, George Russell, on your race win in Singapore and your P1. I'm going to get the chat. Hey, Gemma. You've got your top 10 hit on your hands with Bye Bye Yuki. Yeah, Bye Bye Yuki, baby, bye bye. We're coming to that. I'm coming to that a little bit later in the show. And I'm not bullying. I'm really not. And I don't mean to poke fun at somebody who may lose their drive. But we have to talk about it. And we will. Kyle said it looked hot. It looked, I think it was about, I don't know the exact temperature, but it didn't get as hot as they thought. But it was hot enough. Like, that Mercedes, there's no real reason why that Mercedes should have performed that well. And Kimi Antonelli got P4 as well. But really, both Mercedes drivers, good Grand Prix for them. A great Grand Prix for George Russell. Perfect timing while he's still in deadlock with Toto Wolff on this contract negotiation. Toto, if you're watching, and I know you do, I know you're a big fan, stop being a dick. George Russell deserves to be rewarded. Right? He does. He's definitely one of the top 3 drivers. So Toto, I know you're watching. Listen. If you're only going to give him a 1-year deal, pay him the same as Lando. Just get it done. And if he wants an automatic 1-year extension because of these performance clauses, just write good performance clauses that you'd be delighted with. And give him that. Because honestly, Toto, he deserves it. That's my little rant to Toto Wolff. And, you know, he listens to me, you know. He watches every night, Toto. He's one of those lurkers. He watches, but he won't get in the chat. That's Toto Wolff. That's what he does. Get in the chat, Toto! That's my Toto Wolff impression. So, yeah, well done, Mercedes. Well done, Mercedes. Great Grand Prix for them. Now, Kyle says, if it looks like everyone else is getting faster, maybe McLaren has lost a step. Yeah, I'm coming to that. Oh, I'm coming to that. We will be talking about McLaren. But just before I talk about McLaren, I want to talk very quickly about Ferrari. Because here's my question, and Kyle and Gemma and anyone else get in the chat. So Lewis Hamilton, we saw him with catastrophic brake failure, 6 laps to go, just after he'd set the fastest lap of the race, right? So Lewis Hamilton found this incredible pace. Leclerc lets him through. He was on soft tyre, and he was gaining literally like a second a lap on Leclerc, looking like he could really challenge, maybe even, you know, Lando Norris. Kimi Antonelli. And but then, from nowhere, literally from nowhere, last 6 laps, catastrophic brake failure. And then he lost 50 seconds, and Fernando Alonso was behind him, going absolutely crazy because Hamilton's exceeding track limits. He exceeded track limits over 10 times, missed every apex. Like, the car was undrivable, and Hamilton's nursing it home for the last 6 laps. Right, now, everyone's waded in because Hamilton was awarded a 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits. Right, Fernando Alonso was behind him on the track, going absolutely fucking crazy, saying this car should be stopped. It's dangerous. His brakes have gone. All good and fair points, right? To be fair. Anyway, as it worked out, Lewis Hamilton got a 5-second penalty. Fernando Alonso got that 7th place. Hamilton was dropped to 8 because of it. But here's my real point. If you're Lewis Hamilton in that car, push, you gain the second a lap on the soft tyre, and then the brakes just collapse. Surely somebody in the Ferrari team on all of that data would have been going, hey, Lewis, your brakes are about to explode. Like, you know, your brakes are about to go off. How did they not know? With all of that software and all that technology, how did his engineer not know that the brakes were about to collapse? There must have been some data that was going, yeah, your brake's getting super hot here, Lewis. You're about to lose your brakes. And then what happens is Charles Leclerc comes out in the press talking about his experience, and he said his brakes were going off after about lap 28. So serious, it's, you know, Ferrari find pace. Like, Hamilton gets the fastest lap of the race, and then there's major problems with the brakes. I mean, apparently that track, everybody does have to manage the brakes. It's part of the driver's job, manage the brakes. But there must have been clues before that Ferrari got super dangerous, right? Surely. And should the stewards have gone, listen, you've lost your brakes, stop going around the track, bring it into the pits, your race is done. You're missing every apex, you're missing every corner, you've exceeded track limits 10 times, and you only got a 5-second penalty. Do you think that was fair? Do you think he even should have got a penalty? That's my question to you. If you're watching this on replay, get in the chat. I'm really interested to hear what you think. Whether you think the penalty that Lewis received, the 5-second penalty, was adequate, inadequate. Because you've got to factor in as well, when you lose your brakes, you're already losing, 20 seconds lap anyway. So should it just be a case of, if you can get the car home in any state, i.e. if bits aren't falling off the car, but you're just super slow, isn't it just the other car's job, like everyone else behind, just to get past him? Even though Singapore's a hard track to overtake. I don't know. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Get in the chat and tell me your opinions on that. But I thought the Ferrari thing was interesting. What was encouraging was that Lewis was quick in qualify. Well, pretty quick. I mean, he out-qualified Leclerc by, a tenth, which was good for Lewis. And he seems to be finding some parity with Leclerc. So good, positive signs with Lewis and Ferrari, but huge negatives in their brakes don't work. So yeah, that's what I think. Let's see what Carl's got to say. I don't think he would have stayed out if he had more than a few laps to go. No, there's no way. It was the last 6 laps. He just had to nurse it home to the end of the Grand Prix, 6 laps. But he was losing, 10, 12, I don't know, maybe even 15 seconds a lap at that point. At least 10 seconds a lap. So it was obviously a problem. But he had that 50-second gap between him and Fernando Alonso, which Alonso, narrowed down in 6 laps. So yeah, call it about 10 seconds a lap. So it was obviously impossible to drive. But yeah, I don't know. There needs to be some clarity. There needs to be some clarity from the FIA as to what's acceptable with what's classed as dangerous, a dangerous car or not. Don't you think? Because other stewards may have made him pull over. But anyway, that was the interesting talking point, I think, with Ferrari. Gemma says he did a good job considering. Well, he brought the car home, and he lost 1 place, and he scored some points. He scored some points. He finishing 8th, got 4 points for Ferrari. I mean, Ferrari need all the points. Mercedes are looking good now, aren't they? After Lewis, after the last 2 Grand Prix with George and Antonelli. Like, if we look at the team standings now, Mercedes have now got 325 points, and Ferrari are in 3rd with 298 points. So Red Bull Racing on 290 points. So anything can happen with those. I can't see Ferrari really improving their. I can't see Ferrari taking 2nd place in the constructors this year. I think I could see Red Bull Racing suddenly having an incredible few Grand Prix with Max, but the big problem with that is obviously Yuki Tsunoda just not bringing enough points home in that 2nd car. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the Ferraris. But that brings me on to McLaren. Ooh, what do we think about happening to McLaren? So if you watch the Grand Prix, you'll know, like, literally, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris, right? So Oscar Piastri qualifies P3, Lando Norris P5. On the first lap, Lando Norris literally leapfrogs Kimi Antonelli, goes wheel to wheel with Oscar Piastri, which what you could consider a fairly aggressive move, and passes him. Oscar Piastri was like, "Hey, come on, not really sure that was in the team orders. Not really sure you should be doing that, Lando." But the long and short of it is that basically McLaren have said, well, it's racing incident, like they're racing and it's okay. And I think Oscar's starting to feel that a lot of these team kind of decisions after the fact seem to favour Lando Norris a lot. We had Oscar having to give back a place, didn't we, when the tyre gun failed on Lando Norris's pit stop. Oscar's always played the good second driver when he's had to, even though he's leading the championship. And I think he feels that Lando Norris is getting preferential treatment at McLaren. And I also feel as well, if you saw Oscar Piastri at the end of the race, Zach Brown was saying, "Congratulations, Oscar, it's us back-to-back world championships." And Oscar just unclipped him, literally, like red buttoned him. So he took the steering wheel off and literally red buttoned Zach Brown at the end of the race. Yeah, whatever about the world championship for the constructors. I'm getting out of the car. I'm pissed off. Yeah, because he had to finish P4. Obviously, Landis finished P3. And again, he gave up another few points to Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship. I mean, look, he's still 22 points ahead. So it's still a nice buffer. But yeah, he wasn't pleased. But it opens up the wider question. look, I'm not trying to cause all of the conspiracy or what's going on at McLaren, but it does feel that Oscar's got the shitty end of the stick a few times. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that McLaren are treating them fairly, Oscar and Lando? And do you think Oscar had a right to be upset about the move Lando did lap 1 in Singapore? Because that's what all this comes down to. I think they're going to be racing more and more now, because now McLaren have secured the constructors championship. I think Oscar and Lando are going to be racing more and more. I think we're going to see more and more close calls between the two drivers. But what do you think? Get in the chat and tell me what you think is going on over at McLaren. Do you think they are favouring Lando in some way? Think Oscar is getting the shitty end of the stick? I want to know. If you watch on replay, get in the chat. So Kyle. Yeah, Kyle. I was talking about, Kyle's responding to me saying about Red Bull Racing scoring, like, could improve in their constructors standings at the moment, because they're currently 4th on 290 points and Ferrari got 298 points. And Kyle said, instead of saying Red Bull, let's just say Max gets the points. It is Max, I know. Yuki, oh, yeah, I know. Why is what's going on with Yuki? What is going on? That's the thing. I mean, like, Yuki, we just see these improvements, don't we, with Yuki? He seems to be getting his qualifying's getting better, and then he qualifies in Singapore in P13, and Max is P2. That gap is too big. And then Yuki doesn't even. And then the race results, obviously, Yuki finishes 12th. He makes it 1 place. Doesn't score any points. And his teammate Max is P2. Like, it's got to be bye-bye, Yuki. Yuki, bye-bye, bye-bye, bye, Yuki, bye-bye. Hasn't it? It's got to be. I don't know how it can't be. Hey, Will, welcome to the chat. Lovely to have you with us. They're a friendly bunch, this lot. Kyle and Gemma, they'll keep you entertained. So Will says, I'd say when Oscar tried to overtake Lando those 2 times, Oscar got told to calm down in a way and not race like that. But Lando was not told anything about racing like that. I know what you're talking about. So what Will's talking about is, we have seen over this season Oscar Piastri all over the gearbox of Lando Norris, trying to find a gap, locking up. What race was it where he locked up in like turn 8, and it was like, it was pretty, it was aggressive. And then Oscar gets on the team radio. They're telling Oscar to calm down, slow down, like, too aggressive. That has happened. Hungary, yeah, it was Hungaroring. You're right, Will. It was Hungaroring. Yeah, absolutely. And he's all over the gearbox, isn't he? And he's like, and he's getting told over the team radio, Oscar, you got to calm down. Have we, like, there was nothing when Lando was pulling that move on Oscar. I don't think anyone was on the team radio, were they, saying, Lando, calm down. It was racing. But yeah, I have to say, Will, that I do feel that Oscar is getting the bit of the shitty end of the stick. And here's the other mic drop. I think Oscar is the better driver. I think he edges it. I think for me, Oscar is going to be a multiple world champion. I think Lando might win a world championship, but I just think Oscar's got. I think Oscar's going to be the guy, right? I do. I actually think he's got it in him to become the guy. Like dare I say it? He does remind me a little bit of Senna in a lot of ways, but these team orders are gonna eventually. He's gonna pop. I think he's gonna pop. He's gonna go nuts, because if he does suddenly start feeling, hang on a minute, I'm playing second fiddle here. I think Oscar's not gonna do that, and I think Oscar's already thinking about long term. That him and Lando are on long term contracts with some exit possibilities, but Oscar, I have a feel it wouldn't surprise me to see Oscar Piastri in a Ferrari in 2028. even 2027. If Hamilton leaves Ferrari in 27, I could see Oscar Piastri being a Ferrari driver. I could. And why would you not want to? Especially if Ferrari get their shit together and start building a car that's actually competitive. So Gemma, I'm going to go see what Gemma's saying in the chat. So Gemma says, be able to listen to team radios and switch between teams. Don't know. Yeah, you can get the team. You can get the team radio chatter. You can. It's all on public record. So everything they say, there is a record of it. So yeah. Will says, I think personally now that Oscar knows that the constructor's over. Before that, he might have been holding back on fighting him. He's in the mindset now to think the WCC is over. Time to go for the WDC. You're right. I agree. I think we're going to see a different. I think that for the next 6 Grand Prix to the end of the season, 100% believe that Oscar. He showed his frustrations at the end of the Grand Prix, but then he does his PR, which he's very good at. He then smooths over his, he shows his teeth a little bit, and then he knows he's got to play the game, and he plays the game well. And I think he'll go, right, fuck it, game on. When it comes to racing, game freaking on, because the constructors is one. And I think we'll see a different Oscar in the United States. I do. And I think that's what's going to happen. And do you know what? And I'm here for it, Will. I am. I'm here for it. I'm here for that to happen. I want Oscar's lead to come off. Do you know what I mean? I want to see his teeth. Because I want to see him grow into that like ruthless driver that I think he could be. And I think that's what is going to happen. I do. That's what I think. And I think the next 6 Grand Prix. I think the United States Grand Prix is going to be great. I think we're going to see a different Oscar, and I think Lando better watch out, because if Oscar's been playing nice, I'm interested to see what happens when he doesn't, because I think he's the better driver, and that's what I think. Could we see some coming togethers? Coming togethers. I don't even know that's good English, but could we see the 2 McLaren cars coming together before the end of the season? Yeah. I think so. Will says, think about this. Lando may have had faster pace this season, but what if Oscar was holding back his pace for Lando? Well, I think it's more a case of what if Oscar... I agree with what you're saying. Lando, I think, is going as fast as he can go. I feel that at times, when we look at Oscar's situations on track position, he has had to be held back, hasn't he, with team orders. I don't think that's happened to Lando. I don't think Lando's ever had a team order where he's had to hold back. But Oscar has. So I think that's I think that's the case. I think Nico Rosberg's funny in his commentary and his interviews, because he said, well, with the incident where the tyre gun went off and Oscar had to give Lando that place where the tyre gun, where the pit crew messed up Lando's pit stop. Nico Rosberg in the commentary said, well, if I'd have got that team order and I was racing Lewis, I would have just pretended, I would have turned my radio off and pretended it wasn't working. I mean, that's racing drivers, right? And I think we're going to get that same type of mentality. I do. I think we could end up with that with Oscar, and we can really see what he can do when the shackles are off. Yeah, Kyle, I agree. Kyle says, if Oscar takes Max's attitude, Oscar will be champion. Because that's the thing. Could you ever imagine Max Verstappen giving a place back for anybody? No way. Max Verstappen is ruthless, but he's allowed to be ruthless because he's Max Verstappen. But how do you become Max Verstappen? Well, by being that person anyway. So I think Oscar... Now, exactly like Will said, now the Constructors' Championship's done and it's just about the Drivers' Championship, we might see that. We might get to see Oscar's teeth. He shows them sometimes. Like, he showed his annoyance in what happened. He lets it out. His teeth are in there. And now he needs to become the big dog. And hopefully he will do. I also need to give special mention. If you're new to the channel, when we do our preview show, we have two little strands where we predict who's going to be our driver of the day. And we also predict who's going to be our dipstick of the day. Now, I predicted my driver of the day was going to be Alexander Albon. I was very wrong. I was very wrong. I think Gemma predicted her driver of the day was going to be Max Verstappen. He's not getting it. He did well, but he's not getting it. So, driver of the day. I can't remember Kyle's. Who was Kyle's prediction for driver of the day? Was it? Remind me, Kyle, in the chat. But I agree with Sky. Driver of the day had to be Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin looked good, actually, in practice. Oh, that's right, Kyle. You said Hadjar, didn't you? That was your prediction. He's not getting it either. Yeah. Yeah, well, we do the prediction show. We do. It's normally, so if the Grand Prix, so we do it on the Monday or Tuesday night before the Grand Prix, which is like the preview show. Well, it could be any night that week, actually. But I will put a graphic up and tell you it's either, so it's either the night before the Grand Prix or we do it earlier in the week so people can actually get to see it in the build up. But it'll be on the thumbnail. You'll know when it's a preview show because it's big on the thumbnail. Yeah, so Fernando Alonso, brilliant well, I'd say brilliant. He got through to Q3 in qualifying, put it P10. Whereas in comparison, Lance Stroll, Q2, P15. And we've got Fernando Alonso then finishing the race in P7. But it was in an Aston Martin that looked pretty good in practice, bit off the pace in qualifying, where you looked at Lance Stroll. And then Fernando Alonso then was competitive. So, again, Fernando Alonso, 44 years old, two-time world champion, putting the Aston Martin, scoring points for the team. You can see why they secured him for next year. Do you know what's mad? New regulation changes, driving for Aston Martin in an Adrian Newey car. Fernando Alonso gets the privilege of driving an Adrian Newey car at 45 years old. It's teeing up for like a real possibility, because that Aston Martin, I'm telling you right now, is going to be good. It is going to be competitive. We could see a 45-year-old Alonso competing, because I'm not 100% convinced that Red Bull package is going to be good next year. I'm not convinced that Red Bull is going to bring a good power unit when they're building it themselves with Ford. I'm just not. But Honda building Aston Martin's power unit 2026, I'm here for it. But congratulations to Fernando Alonso. He's a big fan of F1 Grandstand. He tunes in all the time. He loves to see himself on fire. Fernando's on fire. He loves to see it. So driver of the day, congratulations. Doing it for the 40-year-olds. Yeah? Seriously. Doing it for the 40-plussers. Go on, Fernando. Maybe I'll get my race license yet. The dream's still alive. Thanks, Fernando. But yeah, brilliant. Brilliant result for Fernando. Which brings me on to Dipstick of the Day. Yeah, Dipstick of the Day. Who do we think? Who do we think I'm going to say it was? Because I predicted... who did I predict for Dipstick? I predicted Franco Colapinto, and I don't think it was him. He was not Dipstick of the Day. I'm going with Dipstick of the Day, and I'm going to give it to... Here it is. And I'm giving it to this guy because he put it in the wall so many times over the weekend. Like, Liam Lawson, what are you thinking, buddy? Dipstick of the Day for Singapore. I mean, when I say Dipstick of the Day, Kyle, I do factor in the whole weekend. It's not just the drive, but the reason why Liam Lawson gets Dipstick of the Day, it should be Dipstick of the GP, but it doesn't sound as good. Dipstick of the Day is Liam Lawson. I'll tell you why. He crashed the car in FP2. He crashed the car in FP3. And after a really good run of results, especially in Baku, keeping Yuki behind him and a P3 qualifying position, he then not only crashes the car twice, but His qualifying was not great, P12. But his race performance, he finished P15. You can't. He finished behind Yuki Tsunoda, and otherwise Yuki was getting it. If I'm honest, for me it was a toss up between Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda, but for dipstick of the day. But I had to go with Liam. But in contrast to that, Liam, he won my praise in Baku, even though Yuki had a good race. But I think he did better. He did a better race and a better qualifying. So unfortunately, because it was down to Yuki and Liam for dipstick of the day, Liam Lawson, I'm going to do a proper graphic for dipstick of the day, by the way. Some sort of animation. I just need to build one. Yeah, Liam Lawson, you get dipstick of the day. Okay. So, Gemma says he put it in the wall. Liam put it in the wall so many times. The whispers on the track were he was dating it. He's dating the wall. Gemma, leave the comedy to me. I'll do the comedy. I'm joking. Will, also in Canada, Oscar crashed into the wall of champions. I just remembered. Yeah. Do you know what? The thing about Liam though is I need to say what I think. I actually think Liam is a very quick driver, and I think he's a very good driver, and I think he's got what I like about him most, right? Even though I'm giving him dipstick of the day, what I like about Liam Lawson most is his mentality. What happened to him this season have been a couple of races, given a couple of Grand Prix in the Red Bull car, and being in a Red Bull car that was literally set up as a test car with test setups for Max Verstappen under the stewardship of Christian Horner. Was the worst poison chalice he ever could have had. Because all that job was under Horner, unfortunately for the number 2 drive, was what does Max need? What data does Max need to find out? Right? And he didn't even have the same upgrades on the car. So they chuck him in a Red Bull, which was a terrible situation. Not only is it twitchy as hell and difficult to drive, he wasn't even given a fair crack at the whip. So then they drop him, right, in front of the whole world, humiliate him. Back, at least he keeps the drive, obviously, back into the Racing Bulls team. And then he's got the world's best rookie, Hadjar, as his teammate, showing him up. And you know what? This season, I think it shows incredible mental strength for him to come back from that, to then put that car P3 in Baku and finish P5 ahead of Yuki, and consistently have that Racing Bulls performing better than the second Red Bull, and competing with Hadjar, who has been, I think we could all agree, pretty darn brilliant this year. So even though he's dipstick of the day, I'm going to caveat it with Liam Lawson. I like your mentality. There's a driver in there for sure. And I would personally do want to see him on the grid in 2026. That's how I'm going to caveat that. In fairness. So Will says, it's about the Racing Bull drivers competing to get the best results, but get such terrible results to not get demoted to the second Red Bull seat. Yeah, that's what it seems like now, isn't it? Yeah, we don't want to get demoted into the Red Bull car, to the second Red Bull seat, and be Max's add-on. It's almost like being Max's you work for Max. What does Max need? But this is what I'll say about Laurent Mekies, though. I do think he has brought some balance in that respect. Because with Yuki, the first thing he did was give Yuki a comparative car. When he realised that Yuki, he didn't have the same floor, Yuki gets the floor. Suspension upgrades. Yuki is basically making it a fairer competition, but Yuki's still behind. He's still not doing enough. Regardless of Laurent Mekies sort of putting an arm around him and saying, "Listen, Yuki, you've still got a chance at a seat next year. You don't give up on your season. You can still compete." Yeah. And I think that was one good thing that Laurent Mekies has done. Hey James, welcome to the chat. Nice to have you in there. Yeah, so Lawson finished for his team. Yuki finished -10. Yeah. Well, actually, let me just have a look at that. Just remind myself in the driver's standings right now. So Liam Lawson has scored 30 points this season, and Yuki Tsunoda has scored 20 points this season, right? So Liam Lawson has got 50% more points than Yuki Tsunoda. I mean, you know. And then if you look at Isaac Hadjar's season, which is just a phenomenal season, he's on 39 points, but he's only 9 points ahead of Lawson, which is considerable. But and obviously in his rookie season, Hadjar has done brilliantly well, and getting that podium was just phenomenal in Hungary. Brilliant result. So yeah, all in all, I would you want that second Red Bull seat? I want it to come with some terms. I'd be like, give me the same car that Max has got every Grand Prix. Like literally, give me the same car, same upgrade, same parts, and then yeah, I'm not going to be a test driver for Max Verstappen. You're right, Kyle. Red Bull. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kyle. That's how damaging the Yuki relationship is now. Like I say it, and I say it over and over again. You can't win a constructors' championship with one driver. Your second driver has got to put a shift in, and you know Red Bull Racing right now are 8 points behind Ferrari. You know, Yuki scores no points in a Grand Prix. It's not acceptable, especially when Max is up there, you know, finishing P2, scoring 18 points. It is not acceptable. If your teammate's P2, you've got to be in the top 6, right? Like, realistically, like, to be taken, to even be putting in an audition for the second seat, you've got to be in the top 6. It's not cool. It is not cool. Yeah, hey James, welcome to the chat. Hey Will, thanks for joining the chat, Will. You're very, very welcome. Very, very welcome here at F1 Grandstand. Tell your friends. Smash a like on the video. It makes a big difference to the success of the channel. James Allen jumping in with another quality comment. They need a Scouser in the Red Bull too. I don't know any Scouse F1 drivers. Do we know any F1 drivers from Liverpool? I'm curious because I can't think of any off the top of my head. Tell me a famous Formula One driver from Liverpool. I don't know. There's got to be one. Maybe back in the 50s or something. I don't know. Maybe. Surely there's one. I can't think of one. Yeah, I can't. I know one from Birmingham. Nigel Mansell was from Birmingham, wasn't he? There must be one. I'm going to think about that, James. Liverpool, Formula One drivers from Liverpool. Yeah, so it's been. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight, everybody. So this has been basically just a roundup. Is there anything I've missed? So Kyle says Hadjar and Max would be 13 points behind Mercedes. Oh, if that was what from this whole season, Kyle? Yeah, the season. Yeah. I think Hadjar is going to get the drive next year to be Max's teammate. And I think he should get it as well. I think it's the right thing to do. I definitely think it's the right thing to do. I think that Hadjar is a really good prospect. He's probably the best rookie this year. I mean, I know everyone says he's definitely the best rookie, but I think he has been the best rookie this year, but he's probably had apart from Antonelli, he's probably had the best car. Because Bortoletto, I think, is quick. And I think we've seen flashes of that in that real bag of spanners Sauber car. So yeah, it's possible. Sorry, my phone is pinging. But yeah, I think that Hadjar, as long as Red Bull can bring a car that's okay next year, Hadjar and Max have got, obviously you can never write Max off. He is definitely the best driver. But when you look at people like George Russell and Charles Leclerc, how far behind are they really? And then just behind them, maybe Oscar Piastri. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but if you put even Fernando Alonso in an Adrian Newey car in 26, we could see him at the top next year. That's why I'm so looking forward to it. But Hadjar will get that second Red Bull seat. And I think Yuki and Liam Lawson have both blotted their copybook in Singapore because neither driver performed well enough. So TikTok, we've got 6 races left. You know, you need to win that seat. Both of you do, because you've got Arvid Lindblad knocking on the door. You've got Alex Dunn knocking on the door. You know, you could both be out. That's the situation. We could see a situation where Helmut Marko decides, see you later, Yuki, bye-bye, Liam, and puts in Arvid Lindblad and Alex Dunn. You know, the Dunn situation's developing. Might talk about tomorrow. He's left McLaren with immediate effect. And Helmut Marko, the Dart Lord himself, getting his tentacles into him, trying to bring him over to, you know, the Red Bull camp, and you just don't know what could happen. But I'll tell you what I do know. Yuki and Liam need to make amends for this weekend because it just wasn't good enough. Yeah, Kyle says that you don't think either deserve it. I think you're right. I think Liam, listen, if I had to choose, if I had to keep one of them, it'd be Liam. And here's why I'd keep one of them, regardless. Because of the major regulation changes in 26, I need a benchmark of how good the car is. Because if I've got 2 absolute rookies who have never driven a Formula 1 car competitively, and they're giving me data, I can't rely on that data very much. So I need at least a Liam Lawson to drive my car, compare it to last year, to give me some useful information, feedback while I'm trying to develop it. That's the only reason I think why one of them might stay. But then again, I also have a feeling that Liam Lawson's going to sort of improve. We might see Yuki just have a nightmare now to the end of the season. But I could see Liam Lawson maybe. He's got that mental resilience he has. I mean, he crashed the car because twice in Singapore because he was pushing the envelope, right? He's pushing it to limits. If he just learns how to find the limit without killing the car, you know, keep Liam and Hadjar. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, why not? Question. James has got a question. Let's see what he says. Like a production manufacturer, do they not have test drivers that could prove the benchmark? Like not just the team drivers. They do have drivers who do testing. Yeah, of course. But it's normally the younger drivers are doing testing at Red Bull because they're in the driver development program. And then you've got reserve drivers as well, obviously. But the reserve drivers, again, normally are the youth to come through. And so the experienced drivers at Red Bull are normally either driving in Red Bull, the Red Bull team, or not really. They haven't really got any old drivers. Like Daniel Ricciardo they did have in the past is a reserve driver and that actually was a good reserve driver for them because, you know, he knows how to win Grand Prix. He's lost it. I don't think we'll see Daniel Ricciardo back in F1 though. He's taken a job at Ford. He's an ambassador for Ford Racing, and he's helping to try and help them with their trucks. I think, yeah, I think that's what it is. But it is an interesting concept. Like maybe instead of retiring these, but the thing is, if you're a driver that's had an F1 career, and you sort of come to the end, I can't imagine Fernando Alonso going, I'll go and be a reserve driver for a year at the end of when he decides to leave Aston Martin in a year's time. You know, I think guys with good experience, they want to race. They don't want to be sat on the bench, do they? And just they're like workhorses. Yeah, F1. James wants to introduce like a test pilot. Yeah, they do. They're reserve drivers who do that. Development drivers as well. They are there to push the final limits of the car in testing. But obviously, the drivers, the actual drivers, want to do a lot of the testing because they want as much time in that car as they can to know exactly what it can do. Yeah, James wants to set up Top Gun for F1 drivers. Who's going to be Top Gun? Where was it? Where was it? Maribel or something? I can't remember. I can't remember where the base was. Yeah, who's going to be Top Gun? Yeah, brilliant. Top Gun for F1 drivers. Go and see that. Go and see James Allen in the chat. I'm in. By the way, I'm definitely coming to drive for you if that happens. Right, it's been a good show tonight, guys. I will be back tomorrow for more F1 news. We'll see what breaks. We've got to be getting some more news on the George Russell contract, surely, and we'll see how this McLaren story develops. So if there's any fallout within the team between any more fallout, I should say, between Norris and Piastri, and also let's try and get some information as well on what's going on at Ferrari with these brakes. Yeah. See if they can bring a more competitive package to the United States. It's been a great show. Please do smash a like on the video, hit the bell. It makes a massive difference to the success of the channel. And I'm honestly, if you're watching on replay, thank you very much for watching. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you. I will be back tomorrow, same time, 7:30 GMT in the UK. And I'll see you all then. And if you have any breaking news, obviously, look out. We might go live during the day tomorrow as well. Okay, enjoy the rest of your evening. Ta-ta.